Hi, everyone, and welcome back to 24/7 English Avenue podcast.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Sarah. If this is your first time, a big welcome to you. And if you've listened before, we're really glad you're back.
This podcast is made for people who are learning English, especially at a beginner level.
We speak slowly and clearly, and we use simple words to help you understand and enjoy learning.
Exactly. Each episode, we help you learn how to talk about real life. Things like family, daily routines, or like today's topic, work and jobs. So, here is what we will do today. First, we'll listen to a short and easy conversation between two friends.
It's a simple chat using real English that people use in everyday life.
And after that, we'll go through it together. We'll explain the useful words and phrases they used. That means we will tell you what they mean and we'll show you how to use them yourself.
Yeah, we will also share some examples from our own lives, and we'll give you time to repeat and practice.
So, don't worry. You're going to learn a lot, but in a fun and simple way.
All right then, are you ready? Let's start by listening to the dialogue.
Hey Julia, it's so good to see you again. It's been ages. So tell me, what do you do these days?
Hey, Alex. I know, it's been a while. Well, right now, I'm working as a business consultant.
Nice. That sounds interesting. What do you do for a living? I mean, what's a consultant exactly?
I help people who want to set up a new business, mostly in health and fitness. I advise them on how to start, what to do first, and how to grow.
That's really cool. Do you work alone or with a company?
I work for a company called Active Business Solutions. I've been with them for almost 2 years.
Oh, okay. So what's your job like day to day?
Well, my job involves a lot of things. I deal with marketing, and I'm also responsible for helping clients choose the right tools. Sometimes I'm in charge of finding new products, like gym equipment and, wellness tools.
Sounds like you've got a lot of work to do.
Oh, yes, it keeps me busy. I also give business owners advice, not just about products, but also about managing money and staff.
Wow, that's a lot. I'm in something simpler. I work in sales at a tech company. I'm mostly doing calls and writing reports.
That's good, though. Do you like the working conditions?
Yeah, they're okay. I have fixed hours, 9 to 5. But sometimes I have to work overtime, especially at the end of the month.
Do they pay you for the extra time?
Not always, but they give us extra time off later, which is nice. And honestly, I'm just happy to be paid regularly.
Totally. I know some people on minimum wage jobs who work so hard and still earn very little.
True. I feel lucky. My salary is not bad, and I earn some commission too. So my income is about $25,000 a year.
Oh, same. I usually say I earn about $25,000 a year. But of course, I don't keep it all. Income tax takes a big part.
Tell me about it. I lose like 20% of my income in tax. So, what's your role like in the office?
Well, I'm not a manager, but I help the manager with reports. She runs the team and handles all the day-to-day tasks, like talking to clients and, planning meetings. She's also in charge of the junior staff.
Well, that's similar to my job.
I used to work in a medical office where I get a lot of admin. I bought supplies, answered calls, and handled complaints from patients.
Oh, yeah? Why did you leave?
Well, I wanted to try something new. So I quit my job and started applying for new positions.
I remember. Weren't you unemployed for a few months?
Yeah, I was. I did a few part-time jobs here and there, but I really wanted a full-time job with good hours and better pay.
And now you have it. That's great.
Yeah, I'm happy now. Even though it's busy, I enjoy what I do.
Well, sounds like you made the right choice.
All right, let's begin with 3 very common questions people ask when they first meet. All of them are about work, and they're very useful. What do you do? What do you do for a living? And what's your job?
So they all mean the same thing. You're asking someone, what is your work? Or how do you make money?
Yeah, these questions are really common in English. If you meet someone new, maybe at a cafe, at school, or even at a friend's party, this is one of the first things people ask.
Right, and they're polite too. In English, asking about someone's job is a normal part of small talk. It helps start a conversation.
Now, let's give a quick example. I meet Sarah at a cafe and I say, "Hi, I'm Tom. Nice to meet you. So, what do you do?"
And I say, I'm a teacher. I teach English at a language school.
Simple, right?
Very simple. And I might also say, what do you do for a living? This one sounds a little more formal, but it's still very common.
I usually hear that at events or networking groups. It means the same thing. You're asking what someone does to earn money.
For example, I work in a hospital. I'm a nurse. I'm a mechanic. I fix cars. Or I work for a software company.
I remember once I was at a wedding and I sat next to a man I didn't know. So I smiled and said, "Hi, I'm Tom. What do you do for a living?" And we ended up chatting about his job for 30 minutes.
I once asked someone the same thing on a train, just to be friendly. And it turned out we had similar jobs. We became friends later.
Yeah. And the third one is, what's your job? This one is very direct and simple. But just a quick note. We usually use it when we already know someone a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. If someone says, I'm always so busy, you might reply, what's your job?
So, here's a review. What do you do? Is friendly and common.
What do you do for a living? Is slightly more formal.
And what's your job? Is short and clear. Okay, let's try it now.
Hi, what do you do?
I work in customer service.
Cool. What kind of company?
I work for an airline. And here's a fun tip. If someone asks you this question, just think about where you work and what you do most days.
Yeah, even if you're a student or stay-at-home parent, you can answer with that. Like, I'm a student, or I stay at home and take care of my kids, or I work part-time at a cafe.
All right, so now you've learned how to ask someone about their job, like, what do you do? Or what's your job? But what do you say when you want to answer that question? One of the best and easiest ways is to say, I work in, and then you say the place or the type of job.
For example, I can say, I work in sales. That means my job is about selling things. Maybe talking to customers, making deals and helping people buy the right product.
Right. You don't always have to say your job title. Just say the area you work in. It's easy and clear.
For example, I say, I work in education. That means I'm a teacher. Or I do something in a school or with students.
Yeah, I have a friend who says, I work in healthcare. She's not a doctor, but she works in a hospital. She helps patients fill out forms and get appointments. That's still part of healthcare.
That's a great example, Tom. Let's give our listeners more. I work in a supermarket.
I work in IT, and IT means computers and technology.
I work in customer service.
Now, here is another good one. I work for somewhere or somebody. This is when you want to say the name of your company or maybe describe it.
Yeah, for example, I can say, I work for a language school in my city. Or, I work for a private school.
I used to say, I worked for Union Bank. That was many years ago. I worked in the finance department. I didn't love the job, but I learned a lot.
That's the thing. You can use I work for when you want to talk about the company, and I work in when you want to talk about the type of work.
Let's imagine a short conversation. I'll ask you first, Sarah.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, what do you do, Sarah?
I work in education. I work for a private school in London. Now, you try, Tom.
I work in technology. I work for a small app company.
Easy, right?
Yeah, very easy. And you don't have to say a lot, just 2 short sentences.
And if you're not working right now, that's okay too. You can say, I'm looking for work, or I don't have a job right now, or simply, I'm a student, or I'm taking care of my family at home.
Now, let's help our listeners practice. So, repeat after us. I work in marketing.
I work for a travel agency. Great.
Now, try these. I work in a restaurant. I work for a travel agency. Great. You're learning useful ways to talk about your job in real conversations.
All right. Now that we know how to say where we work, like I work in a hospital or I work for a bank, let's talk about the next step. What do you actually do in your job?
Yeah. When someone asks you, what do you do at work? You can tell them about your tasks, the things you do every day. Let's start with this very useful phrase. I deal with something.
Yeah, the phrase I deal with is a great way to say what your job is about. What do you work with, or who you help? For example, I say, I deal with students. That means I help students with their classes, their questions, and sometimes their problems.
And when I worked at a bank, I used to say, I deal with customers. That means I spoke to people, helped them open accounts, answered phone calls, all those things.
So, it's simple. If you work in a shop, you might say, I deal with clothes, or I deal with money. If you work in a kitchen, I deal with food.
Great. Now let's move to another phrase. I'm responsible for something. This means this is my job. This is what I must do. It's my duty.
Yeah. For example, I say, I'm responsible for making lesson plans. That means I write the plans for my students every week.
I used to say, I'm responsible for writing reports. It was my job. I had to do it.
Now, let's give more examples, Tom. I'm responsible for keeping the kitchen clean. Can you give another example, Tom?
Yeah, sure. I'm responsible for booking meetings. Simple, right?
Very simple. And the next is a phrase that sounds a bit more formal. I'm in charge of something.
Yeah, in charge of is similar to responsible for, but it often means you're the boss or the leader for something. For example, when I was at the bank, I was in charge of the new staff. I helped train them, and they came to me with questions.
I'm in charge of the speaking lessons at my school. I plan them, and I help other teachers use them too.
If you work in a restaurant, maybe you're in charge of the drinks. If you work in a shop, maybe you're in charge of the cash register.
And don't worry, you don't have to be a big manager to use this phrase. You can be in charge of small things too.
Yeah, even at home, you might say, I'm in charge of cooking dinner.
Why not?
Okay, now one last great phrase. My job involves something. This is an easy way to tell people what your job includes. The activities, the work, the things you do.
Yeah, I often say my job involves teaching grammar, helping students speak English, and checking homework.
And I used to say, my job involves talking to clients and sending emails. And that was true. I spent most of my day doing that.
So this phrase is nice because you can list more than one thing. You can say, my job involves cleaning, cooking, and answering the phone.
Okay, friends, let's talk about something that's important to all of us, money. We all work to make money, right?
So today, we'll learn some very useful English words about money and work.
Yeah, and don't worry, we'll keep it simple and fun.
You'll hear these words a lot in real life, at work, at interviews, or when you're just talking to a friend about your job. Let's begin with the first one. To be paid or to get paid.
To be paid means you get money for doing a job. That's the most basic idea. You work, and someone gives you money. You are paid. For example, I get paid every Friday. We get paid once a month. It's a simple sentence, but very important.
Yeah, I still remember my first job. I worked at a small coffee shop near my school. I made cappuccinos and cleaned tables. I got paid in cash every Saturday. It wasn't a lot, but I felt so happy. I was 17, and it was the first time I earned my own money.
I love that. My first job was in a supermarket. I worked part-time, and I got paid every 2 weeks. I used that money to buy my first guitar. I still have that guitar.
All right, now let's move to the next word, salary.
Yeah, a salary is the amount of money you get regularly, usually every month if you have a full-time job. This is the money your boss or company gives you. It stays the same each month.
For example, you can say, my salary is $2,000 a month. Or, I have a good salary. That means your regular pay is okay. Or even great.
When I worked full-time at a bank, I had a salary. Every month, I got the same amount, no matter how busy or quiet the month was. It made planning easier. I always knew how much money was coming in.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about a salary. It's regular and steady. When I first started teaching full-time, I remember getting my first salary and thinking, wow, this feels so adult.
Okay, let's talk about another word, income. This word means all the money you get. So Your salary is part of your income, but income can also include money from other jobs or from something you sell or anything else.
Yeah. So, for example, my income is about $25,000 a year. That means in 1 year, you make $25,000 from all your work.
Now, sometimes, instead of saying income, we use these two words, earn and make. These are very common. They both mean get money from work.
For example, I earn $2,000 a month. I make $15 an hour. She earns a good salary. Now, can you make another example, Tom?
Yeah, sure. He doesn't make much money, but he loves his job.
When I had a part-time job, I made about $300 a month. Later, when I worked full-time, I earned much more, but I also had more hours and more stress.
All right, so now we've talked about your job, your working hours, and how much you earn. But sometimes things change, right? Life changes. You might leave your job, or maybe you even lose your job. That's normal, and it happens to many people.
Yeah, and in English, we have a few simple words and phrases that can help you talk about this. Let's start with one we hear all the time. I quit my job. If you quit your job, that means you choose to leave.
You're not told to go, you decide to go. Maybe the job is too stressful. Maybe you want to study, or maybe you want something new.
Exactly. Here are two simple examples. I quit my job because I wanted to travel.
She quit her job and started her own business.
I remember the first job I ever quit. It was in a small clothing shop. I liked the people and I liked helping customers. But the hours were long and I was tired all the time. One day, I just thought, I want to be a teacher. So I quit the job and signed up for a course.
I did something very similar. I was working in a bank. It paid well, and it was safe, but I wasn't happy. I wanted to do something more creative. So I quit my job and started teaching English part-time. It was scary, but looking back, it was the right choice.
So remember, I quit my job means I chose to leave. It often means you want a new beginning.
All right, and that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thanks so much for learning with us today. You're doing better than you think, and we're proud of you. We'll see you next time on